right, from the 2021 EP Break the Chain, that was Bad Decisions by Derek Stoner. Good evening, I'm Tom Lamog, a volunteer instructor with Guitars for Vets Cyber Chapter and with Cav Arts, the Challenge America Veteran Arts Community. Welcome to Song Sung True, a Veterans View, where tonight we feature the songs and stories of Derek Stoner. Derek, how are you, man?
Hey Tom, it's great to be here. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm really doing well. It is great to have you back. We had you in October of last year, and boy, if there's a conversation worth replaying, definitely for those of you who do not know who Derek is, that's a good starting point. Aside from going to his social sites as well too, but yeah, we covered a lot of ground that last time. But we're gonna cover some new things as well too. You know, I got to tell you, Derek, I have been doing a little bit of research, obviously, with my guests, and see that you're doing podcasts. You're out there and you're talking about who you are, your music, and a little bit about your service in the military. And I did want to ask you because I don't know how often this happens, but how often do you get to bring your guitar out and perform on these podcasts?
Uh, Not a whole bunch really. Normally, it's just playing my recorded music during the podcast. So this one's unique in that, and I appreciate it. That's why I'm sitting here with this. I'm going to hold it the whole time because I know we got Guitar Nation out there,
Yeah.
and so
That's
so
awesome. Yeah, I
yeah.
know it's kind of like, well, I know there are a lot of podcasts out there, and the ones that I came into, yeah, occasionally they'll go ahead and cover, um, some of the recorded material, but to be able to bring your guitar and perform live for us, it's a real treat for our community because our guitar players who have made their way through the Guitars for Vets program, the 11 lessons, or maybe they did the self study, the iTag. Uh, we don't quite know if they are interested in making that next step to learning to sing, playing and singing at the same time, or maybe accompanying someone else who can do the singing. And it's people like you who we can go ahead and kind of ask you these questions about your experience and help them kind of move their interests to the next level, so to speak. So it is so great to have you. Maybe you can share with us. Yeah, I don't know how many podcasts you've done, but any memorable moments, any funny moments that you can recall, and we're going to try and top that tonight, of course.
Oh, on podcasts? Oh, mercy. I don't know. I don't have anything that's clearly sticks out. I
Mm.
guess I don't have a good answer for you there, but
Oh,
but
that's
but
okay.
I enjoy doing these. I enjoy meeting new folks, and y'all aren't new to me. We, like you said, back in October, I think it was, and um, I love being a part of. It's a familiar thing.
Mhm.
People that share your same passion. It's nice. You can strike up a conversation really easy. You can just sit there and talk about a guitar, and then
Oh,
especially
absolutely.
with
Yeah.
the veteran environment, the same thing.
So, you've been at this for a little more than 2 years. So and we're going to get into your bio in just a second here. But the idea of doing everything relating to music, it must have come kind of crashing down, including you know, the invitation to come and talk about, your journey, your life's journey from, youth right into where you're at today. Is there something that is really easy for, I mean, are there things that come easy for you when you do these podcasts?
I think easier every day would be a better way to frame it for myself. Man fears the unknown, right? I think
Yeah.
we're all the same in that. Um, but the more you do something, the more comfortable you get. And
Yeah.
3 years ago, I would have never thought for a second I would be sitting here with a guitar talking to y'all.
Yeah.
But life happens, and just trying to enjoy it.
Yeah, and what's intriguing to me about your career, like I said, you retired from the Army January 2022, and the amount of experience that you have amassed in that arguably short time um, is really the interest. of, some of our community members who are like, I really want that. I really want to be able to do what these combat veteran singer-songwriters, and maybe one day show up, as Tom Lamog's guest on Song Sung True. So, yeah, I mean, if we can go ahead and talk through some of that, but before we do, why don't I go ahead and give you that proper introduction? It's basically some of the information off of your bio, DerekStonerMusic.com. Derek grew up in small town America near the little town of Craig alongside the Missouri River, where he spent his childhood hunting, fishing, and learning the value of a hard earned dollar by working on family farms and in the forestry business. Stoner later went on to serve our country as a Special Forces soldier who earned the right to wear the Green Beret. He went on several deployments, 16 of them to the Middle East, then went on to retire after 20 years in January 2022. Derek bought his first guitar and slowly taught himself to play during downtime while deployed overseas. Prior to leaving the armed forces, Derek took his first steps in pursuing a lifelong dream of writing and performing music. He quickly amassed the material needed to perform live shows, both covers and original songs that he had written, and began booking live venues near his home in Western Kentucky. In 2022, Stoner played nearly 200 shows, many as a circuit artist performing at multiple honky-tonks in Nashville. And this evening, Derek will be sharing some exciting news about his upcoming release of new recordings on Independence Day 2024, and is even going to perform some of those original songs for us live. So, brand new album. That was that on the horizon when we last spoke with you in October?
Yeah, it's been on the horizon for too long, honestly, but we're almost there. It's it's took some. It's taken. This is my first full album, so there was a lot of learning curves with it, and frustrations and all kinds of things, But it's coming on the 4th of July, and I'm really excited to release it to everyone.
Oh my goodness. I mean, when I think about putting an album, putting a song together, just putting one song together, you've got to write it, you've got to record it, you've got to bring in the musicians if you have uh, others that want to play on it. But what were some of the things that you remember, first of all, in putting a song together and then putting an album together?
To me, it's just been like a journey. I knew from the get go, which for me was important to know the title of the album. It's because I kind of approach it. I've never written a book and probably never will. But I thought about it in those terms. If I was going to do that, I thought this is a story, and these songs need to go together. They're obviously not going to be the same, but it needs to all make sense together, and how you compile them. So that was the first thing that I kind of learned, and of course the process of writing the music and even coming across tunes some days, as a songwriter, if there's any out there watching, they know exactly what I'm talking about. You never know when you're going to get the inspiration for unsaid tune. So you have to play it out, or it's gonna disappear. Maybe if you can record it real quick or something, maybe you can hold on to it. But for me, I do that on my phone a lot, and even if I'm just humming. But it's never the same as in the moment. Um, so, but along the process, you're like, man, I need like 4 or 5 more songs here that are going to make sense of this, and then you get this tune in your head, and it doesn't match your album whatsoever. You know what I mean? But you've got to get this tune out. So you end up. It's just like once you really dive into the creative process, you wind up with creating a lot more things than you even you create a lot of stuff, but not all of it's going in that bucket that you're calling the album.
Oh wow, yeah.
So that's something that was interesting to me, you know, along the
Just
way.
out of curiosity, I mean, does writing a song take a long time?
Sometimes, but sometimes no.
Sometimes it just kind of falls from the
The
sky.
first, I think the first song I'm going to play for y'all tonight, here in a bit, probably took me 1 hour,
Oh
but
man.
I started it one day and didn't finish it until like 4 months later.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
sometimes I'll sit there and like I'm beating my head up against the wall trying to finish something. So it just I don't think there's a real common theme for me anyways when I'm writing a song.
So, which is easier for you to approach songwriting with? The words or the melodies, chord structure, and the musical piece, I guess.
That question always gets me because every song's different for me.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Something that when I first started doing it, I always did the melody first, and then started putting words to it. That's the only way it made sense to me. I didn't have any experience in it,
Hmm.
but since then, a lot of times I will wake up with the words in my brain, and then I got to go get the guitar. I'm like, where's the melody here? So I really can't tell you. It's just it's
It
always
happens at like,
always seems to be something different with me.
does it happen at the weirdest times, like 3 in the morning? It's like you're waking from a deep sleep. It's like, I got to write this down.
A lot of times it does, yeah, or just random. I get a lot of my ideas from just talking with people, and my wife is like number one on the list, which
Mhm.
not that crazy because I probably talk to her more than I talk to anybody on planet Earth,
Nothing
so
wrong with
it kind of
that.
makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
But I get a lot of ideas from just listening. Listening to folks talk, and if somebody says something, I'm like, what? Man, I
Yeah.
don't know if I've even ever heard that before. That's a good perspective, or whatever, and try to make something out of it.
Absolutely. Oh gosh, my wife and I do that all the time as well too. She's a great writer. And to me it's kind of like, wow, I want to use some of that in some of my songs that I write. But no,
Yeah.
that's a great resource. You've got it made now. Now, in terms of the music itself, do you find it's easy to create the song, the chord structure, the melody, or is this something that you really need to kind of sit down and figure out?
Well, it's not too tough, and that's for one reason. This guy,
The
you
capo.
know,
Oh,
yeah.
Mr.
Um,
Capo.
if
Uh-huh.
it wasn't for that dude over there, I don't know if I'd ever have written a song. Because I can figure. There you go. Yeah, man. But it's the truth. I'm not a great guitarist. I don't know all the chords or anything. Not even close. I wish I did, but I don't.
Oh
So
gosh.
when it
That's
comes
yeah.
to writing songs, once you introduce for me, once I introduce my vocals into it,
Mhm.
instantly like okay, that ain't working. That dog's not going to hunt. And then with a capo, you can just like okay, there it is.
It's the way
You
to
know,
go. Yeah.
yeah. So that's kind of how I do it.
Yeah, and it's funny. A lot of the other songwriters that I've spoken to take advantage of that. And for our community itself, if you're interested in using that capo and you know your open chords, if you know the caged chords and E minor, A minor, these are going to be really, they're going to come in handy if you decide you want to pursue songwriting. So Derek has kind of talked through, something that is very popular. All right. Well, let's see here. I know we've got a bunch of other things to get to with music, but I'm going to start with the burning question. All right. The burning question. So,
Okay.
yeah, this kid, son of a Marine Corps drill sergeant from the Korean War, didn't hear a whole lot of stories growing up. What does he know about the Army? What does he know about Special Forces? What does he know about a Green Beret other than the movie and the song itself? It was very little. Yeah, it was very little. Do you need to get that?
No, that is a driveway alarm that I forgot to unplug. I don't really apologize. So as long as there's not
That's all
somebody in my
right.
driveway backing up and going forward, it shouldn't
That
sound
that
off.
could be a problem. You're going to be hearing dogs if, for
Paranoid.
me,
That's
so
what I
we're.
got from the army. Yeah.
Oh wow, good to know. Let's go down that path for just a minute here. But hey, let me ask you because I had to go to the website itself, the Go Army website, just to kind of get that just a reminder as to exactly U.S. Army, Special Forces, Green Beret, what that all means, being the toughest of the tough is what I'm reading. I was hoping that maybe, for selfish reasons, maybe you can talk through some of the training and the testing that you did to become a Green Beret. I'm going to start. I'm going to go down the categories that's on the Go Army website, so maybe you can speak to them. First of all, physical and mental stamina. All right, so that obviously the toughest of the tough. Oh yeah, that makes sense. What does that mean to you? The physical and mental stamina, the training that you had to go through to become a Green Beret.
Sure. Yeah. Well, my process of becoming a Green Beret And it all depends on your specific job and a couple other things as far as time and how long it's going to take you to get through this training if you're successful. My personal training took me 2 years, straight through. I mean, there's a few little breaks in there, of course, but so as when you talk about stamina, that is a long time. Imagine this. I think is a way to explain it to most folks. Everybody's taken a hard test before. Everybody's had something important in their life, whether it be in school or a job, something that you really had to prepare for mentally and a lot of times physically as well. And it puts a lot of stress on you, and you're really focused on it until you accomplish it. The unique thing with special forces training is this is 2 years long, and throughout that process, there's about 20, probably more than that. There's actually way more than that. It's like you finish one thing that you were just like, if I don't do this right, if I don't accomplish this goal, if I don't pass this test, I'm done. But as you become successful in it, you accomplish that. Guess what? There's no celebration on the other side of that. It's what's the next one. You know what I mean? And just over and over and over for two years straight. So I would say that as far as would wrap up the stamina thing as far as in regards to being a special forces soldier. You have to learn how to deal with that, and that takes a lot of physical and mental stamina.
Couple years, huh?
Yep.
Wow, wow. And then let's see, the next category that was on the Go Army site was immersive special forces training. There was nothing more about that, but is there something you can add to that? What that meant to you? What was that?
It
I
said
mean,
immersive. Is that what you
immersive
said?
special
Oh, yeah.
forces.
Well, they definitely immerse you, and I mean, you basically get indoctrinated
Uh-huh.
for good reasons. You're just learning so many things so fast. It's the fire hose.
Mhm.
It really is, and you're immersed in it. I mean, you can go into like some of the programs or the different areas that you get in throughout your training. You'll have role players where they try to immerse you in a similar environment where you may see overseas and when it's real, and things like that. And nothing's you can come close, but you'll never real's real and
Mhm.
pretend's pretend. But
Sure. Yeah.
yeah, they just immerse you in it. It is your life. It is your life. If you have a family with you, it's becomes their life. You can't help it because it takes so much from you. It's not like it's a 9 to 5 where you
Exactly.
can come home and just have chicken with the family, which some nights you can, but a lot of nights you can't. So everybody has to chip in, and it's a family effort. It's a team effort for all.
Well, speaking of family, when they got the news that you had enlisted, maybe you can kind of recall some of the thoughts. I don't know if you were able to share comments or thoughts or anything like that, because immersive training, special forces demands, and obviously sacrifices as well too. My guess is there was sacrifice all around.
Oh, absolutely. And I think probably for me, when I joined, I was married, still am. Um, we had 3 children, which that's what we still have.
Hmm.
Um, they sacrificed more than I did. Looking back on it, um, because when you're immersed in that, really all you have time for is pretty much to make sure what you're doing and make sure you're straight. You really, I put so much of the, if had I been doing something else, I would have been taking a lot of that load off my wife at the
Hmm.
time. But I wasn't there. I didn't have time. I just this and that. So the sacrifice, I always give it to my wife, and then of course your children sacrifice, um, even unwillingly, because they're robbed of their time with their a lot of the time with their father, and but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and I wouldn't change things if I could, but it's
Sure.
there are certainly sacrifices that are made.
20 years, my friend. 20 years. That's an incredible amount of time. And we thank you for those sacrifices, for, what you've done for our freedoms and for, your family itself. Yeah, way to go. Way to go. Um, do you think you have a firm grasp of everything that you were taught during your initial training? I mean, there's a lot.
That's a great question. No, it's a
Yeah.
great question. As soon as you graduate, you know about enough to get yourself killed. You know what I mean? That's what I always tell everybody, because it's the truth. It's not until I've told people until I got to my last 2 years of service when I was put in a leadership role, and you're kind of in charge of everything that you've been doing your whole career on a tactical level. Not until then do you actually feel like, wow, I think I actually figured this out and it's time for me to leave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even say you got everything figured out, but you get to a level to where you can see things coming. You can stave off things. You can, because it's just experience, like with everything else. But for the majority of my career, absolutely not. You're reacting. You're training as hard as you can, and you're trying to polish these skills, kind of like the guitar. As I am now. I'm not even close to having this thing figured out. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Great. Well, I think this is probably a good stopping point to take a listen to what I'm thinking is a track off of the new album.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, this is
All
this
right.
is a
What's the
tune.
story? What's the name and what's
Well,
the story?
the first thing that's great about this
Uh-huh.
is none of y'all have ever heard it. So if I mess it up, you're not even going to know. But this is a tune I was telling you earlier in regards to the songwriting and ideas. I was running around the house one night and I was being ornery, and my wife was in here, and I was just being ornery to her. I was just being playful. But anyways, I was drinking a Coors Light like I am right now, and she looked at me, and I'd made some gesture. I'll spare you, all clean and fun. But she looked at me dead in the eye, and she said, "I know you're not going to waste a beer on me." And right when she said that, I was like, "Son of a gun, woman, you just wrote a country song." And I went and grabbed the guitar, and this is what came out.
There's his history. Okay, this is Wasting Beer on You, Derek Stone.
Yeah. I've been known to leave the lights on all day. I may lose track of time and stay out a little bit too late. I've been caught on the kitchen floor in my muddy boots, but you ain't ever gonna catch me wasting beer on you. Just last week I went and blew walking laundry. I fell asleep right in the middle of the cocktail party. Now there's a whole lot of things that you might see me do, but you ain't ever gonna catch me wasting beer on you. We get around town doing all the girly things you like. I'll hold your hand, be your man, and a shoulder where you can cry. When my down home syndrome country shines on through, you know you ain't ever gonna catch me wasting beer on you. Well, I messed up big when I went and forgot your birthday. Now, honey, I'm sorry, but you know I can't always be perfect. So you can holler, yell, and scold me till your face turns blue, but you ain't ever gonna catch me wasting beer on you. We get around town doing all the girly things you like. I'll hold your hand, be your man, and a shoulder where you can cry. When my down home syndrome country shines on through, you know you ain't ever gonna catch me wasting beer on you. Here we go. Woke up Sunday morning, it was round about noon. There was a letter on the table with some pictures from our honeymoon. She said, I took the doggy, don't you call me, and I'm taking the rest of the booze. 'Cause you ain't ever gonna catch me wasting beer on you. She said, go to jail or straight to hell, honey, I don't care. You can run around the house all day long in your underwear. Never gonna fall for another y'all fella with an attitude. And you ain't ever gonna catch me wasting beer on you. She said, I ain't ever wasting beer on you. Can y'all believe she told me that?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Soulmates, songwriting partners potentially. That is an
Yeah.
awesome tune, my friend. Wasting beer on you. Um, I don't know. I mean, I'm seeing a music video with that one.
My hopes is it's kind of like a cool line dancing thing. I believe I'm not a line dancer myself, but line dancing is pretty big right now in the country world, anyhow.
Oh, well,
So
I have a feeling you're going to make that happen for sure. What is your wife's name again?
Heather,
Heather. So I remember our conversation about the role that Heather played with you getting into music. I mean, there's a lot of inspiration and a lot of encouragement from her, but maybe you can talk a little bit about when you first started and what she thought about you getting into music.
yeah, initially, and I mean it continues to this day. She's pushing me, she's behind me, pushing me along, and because for me, there's a lot of insecurities and going out and doing something new, and especially I think with being a performer, you know what I mean. Um, I have this fear of like everybody's mom is going to tell them that they sound good, or like you're doing great, but is mom just being nice to you, or is this a bunch of bull? You know what I mean? So
Sure. Yeah.
I'm always fighting that, and God bless moms. I'm not hating on moms. I love
Sure. Mm.
mothers. Where would we be without them? But she's always back there reassuring me. And oh my, let me unplug this real quick.
I'm waiting for my dog. Now's a good time to bark, but they're asleep. Sleep
There
on
we
the
go.
couch.
Sorry about that.
No problem, man.
But yeah, I just can't give her enough credit. And with the songwriting stuff, she's actually a co-writer with me on, I believe, 3 other tracks that I've released as singles. Just hanging out with me, and I'll be about to wrap a song up, and she comes off with a line that's way better than what I had. So she's on it.
That's awesome. Now,
Yeah.
did am I remembering this correctly? But is she the one who kind of pushed you to the spotlight, to the forefront of doing an open mic?
She is, and even more, I think importantly than that, she's the one that made me go to Nashville a couple years ago and try out, in the middle of a honky tonk with everybody there and all that stuff, and once that happened, that led to the whole bunch of shows and really me learning how to perform. Not that I have that figured out right now, but compared to what I was then, it's been a lot of learning. And without her, it wouldn't have happened because I wouldn't have been there. But she made me do it. She signed me up for it. And she didn't even ask me. She just, hey, we're going to Nashville and this is what you're doing. Get your guitar. I'm like, okay. You know.
I get the sense that you're very proud of your family, and you had posted something recently that caught my attention about uh, you had just come back from your tour, and property damage occurred while you were away, and one of your family members stepped up, and I think that I'd love for you to share that story. Talk a little bit about the importance of your relationship with your family, and anything else you want to share about them, because I got something that I want to share with everyone after that.
Okay, yeah, of course. I love talking about my family. You're right. I love them to death.
Yeah.
Our families are our families, but for the specific instance that happened the other day, we had been gone in Florida, South Carolina, the Southeast for a week and a half. playing shows. And during that time, we've got some real honored weather here in Kentucky, and we live on a farm out here, and we have a long gravel driveway. The house is at the kind of the top of a hill, so it all drains downward. Anyways, we got an extreme amount, like hurricane type rainfall, and it took our gravel driveway and turned it into like the Mississippi River's little brother, And I didn't know anything about this. Um, and my oldest son, who lives about an hour away, took it upon himself to come over here, get on the tractor, and it's hard to appreciate the damage without being able to see it. But it was really bad, and he took it upon himself to come over here. He spent his whole day fixing it all up. By the time we got home, I couldn't even tell that there was any damage because there wasn't. He had undone it.
I
But
can
I
only
just thought that's
imagine.
cool. It's a proud dad moment. That's why I put it on there. I really appreciate my children, and I know other people do as well. But I just sometimes it's nice to share that, share that stuff, and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
really.
that's the story.
I mean, we put a lot of attention, obviously, on the veteran here, but
Yeah,
it's also important to acknowledge the roles that military spouses, family members as well, to bring that acknowledgement to the forefront. So now here's I was teasing you a little earlier before we jumped on the show itself about this very thought-provoking question. Both my wife and I were talking about just like how you and your wife talk about certain things like lyric writing and such, but in terms of a question, a very thought-provoking question about your military service, what piece of advice would the 20-year Green Beret veteran of today give to one, the young recently enlisted soldier preparing to embark on a new career in the Army? That's your first question.
okay.
I'll let you answer that
Oh,
one, then I'll ask you the follow-up.
wow, what piece of advice? I would say, um, I would say, put on your big boy boots or your big girl boots and embrace the opportunities that are being laid in front of you freely, because of the enlistment that you made. Um, Open your ears and shut your mouth because there's wisdom that's being spewed around you constantly that you're not going to have the wisdom to understand right now, but grab on every little piece of it that you possibly can. That's what I would say.
Excellent. All right, now here's the second part of that thought-provoking question. Your son is about 20, right?
My oldest son is 24. My youngest son is 21. Yeah.
Okay. So, your son is maybe close to the same age you were when you joined? Is that
Yeah,
a fair
both.
statement?
Sure. Yeah, of
Would
course.
what would that advice be? Would it be pretty much the same, or would you look at it that a little differently in terms of the question itself, the piece of advice that you would give?
No, I wouldn't look at it any differently. And I've talked to both of my boys in the past about it. My
Mm,
oldest son, the one I was telling you the story about, he was actually in the National Guard for 4 years. He joined out of high school.
cool. Yeah.
Um, and for a brief period, he was talking about choosing my career path, and I didn't. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't necessarily want him to do that, but I didn't discourage him. I just kept it to myself. You start the dad parent side of you comes in, and all I could think about is the danger of that stuff instead of the opportunities and great things. But it wouldn't change a whole lot. It would just take your opportunities. We live in the greatest country on earth. Of course, we have problems. Who doesn't have problems? But I believe in the human spirit. I believe where there's a will, there's a way. And I believe if you live in this country, if you will make yourself be strong enough, you can be successful at anything you want to do because the opportunities are there. And they've been bought and paid for by many before us. I think excuses are just like, what? So we all got one. And just push forward.
Real good. Wow. All right. Well, so much for those tough questions for you. When we get to the other side of the song that you're about to perform, it gets easier, or maybe it gets harder because it's going to be more about music. But why don't we go? Then the community can then start to ask you questions, and they can ask anything. They ask me a lot of things. So
Sure.
is it For What It's Worth? Is that the next song that you want to do? This is an
Yes,
original.
sir.
All right.
Yeah, I
You got
got
a
to tune
story
up
behind
just a
it?
little bit for this one.
Yeah, no problem. Let me read a couple of things. Kathy says, are you performing with military events to keep in touch with your service?
Um, I wouldn't say that's why I'm doing it, but it's definitely a benefit. Being a veteran, veteran organizations have really allowed me to play in many places that otherwise I wouldn't even have the opportunity at this point in my career. It's hard when you go out and all kinds of people want to be singers and go perform at venues, and there's no shortage of them. So it's provided me, because I'm a veteran, because I was a part of what I was. It has afforded me a lot of opportunities. But that's not necessarily why I do it. I do it, especially the charity stuff that I do, because I love them. I love them. I feel like they're my family. I feel at home with them. More so than any other environment that I could be in the public. Because even if I don't even know the person, I can walk over there and be like, "Hey, man, where was you at?" "Oh yeah," and in 2 minutes we're like cousins. And it's a great thing, and it's a wonderful opportunity that I'm able to go do what I do now with this guitar,
Yeah.
and still be around that environment.
All right. So this next song, For What It's Worth, what's the story behind it?
So this one here, it's also going to be on the album, the new album. I've noticed I didn't have social media at all, and certainly had never been on a podcast like this. Prior to starting music, my whole military career, I didn't have one. I had a phone, but I talked to people and sent a few texts back and forth with my wife, basically, and children. But I quickly realized when I started the music, in order to try to spread your music, you're gonna have to get out of the Stone Ages, man, and get a social media account and all this stuff. It is what it is. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see any other way as far as I understand.
Getting hip to the times, yeah, that's for sure.
So during that process, and this hasn't been that long ago when I wrote this song, I started noticing, my phone, probably like many others, has this thing on there where it would pop up every month and be like, "This is how much time you spent on your phone, and this is how much time you spent on this app, Instagram or whatever." And it was disturbing to me. And I'm trying to, the whole time I'm trying to push my music, but I was like, I'm wasting. Like, this can't be healthy. It's not, at least it's not healthy for me.
Oh, technology can be our friend sometimes,
And I just started thinking about it. And then to finish that off, some of the things I've seen specifically in Nashville, where you see all walks of life from all over the country and the world, you'll see somebody like walk across the street, 4 lanes with cars zipping by, staring face down at their phone, and not even like the grace of God that they survive and don't get ran over by somebody. You know what I mean? And it's like, whoa, people, like let's take a step back and pull out the phone. But anyway, that's the genesis of the song.
Okay, real good. So, For What It's Worth, Derek Stoner.
For what it's worth, yeah. They said he never met a stranger. He could speak to anyone. He would talk about the weather, the father or the son. In all the years I knew him, when he turned to walk away, they'd ask him how he knew them, and this is what he'd say. Where you going, where you been, your favorite team or your best friend. The story on your sleeve speaks louder than words. He'd say it's easy enough for me, put down your There's a world outside that screen, and for what it's worth, I read it on your shirt. Oh, how I often sat and wondered as the story would unfold. He could bring a crowd together, both the young and the old. It never really seemed to matter. In the end, it'd stay the same. They'd ask him how he knew them, and this is what he'd say. Where you going, where you been, your favorite team or your best friend? The story on your sleeve speaks louder than words. He'd say it's easy enough for me. Put down your phone and you start to see there's a world outside that screen, and for what it's worth, I read it on your shirt. He passed this last December, but the world keeps moving on. I recall our time together and try to share it with a song. So if you ask me how I met him, this is all that I can say. I asked him how he knew me. He answered just this way. Where you going, where you been, your favorite team or your best friend? The story on your sleeve speaks louder than words. He'd say it's easy enough for me. Put down your phone and you start to see there's a world outside that screen, and for what it's worth, yeah, there's a world outside that screen, and for what it's worth, I read it on your shirt.
All right. For What It's Worth by Derek Stoner, coming up on that new album, January, what am I saying? July 4th, Independence Day.
Yeah.
Fantastic, my friend. That sounds awesome. So let me ask you question number one with regards to music, and that is, what do you enjoy most about being a singer-songwriter?
I think this, meeting new folks. Yeah. Above everything else, it'd be this. Communicate with people, meeting new people, new experiences. Because I've just met so many, and it helps you grow as a human. I think, being around other people. So
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, starting off, really with nothing. And if say for instance, you decide you want to take this path, it's like, where do I begin and who do I contact? And now I know that you have played Nashville quite a bit. You've gone in, you performed a couple hundred shows, even more so now because that was 2022. And we all have to start somewhere. Maybe you can talk a little bit about launching that journey. Like I told you, my dogs they're gonna kind of compete with your garage alarm. But
no worries.
what is it about the starting of that journey? What you found to be like you were kind of at a disadvantage if you weren't in Nashville or in some other music city like Austin or wherever. Can you talk a little bit about the challenges that you faced starting out in becoming a singer-songwriter and perhaps a performer and recording artist?
Absolutely. Um, I think you hit the nail on the head. Geography plays in my opinion, geography plays a major role. From where I live, and sitting right now, I'm about an hour and a half from Nashville, and that's certainly better than 5 hours, but it's still an hour and a half. There's this saying that I learned really quick on talking to the business types in the music industry. And what they tell you is if you're serious about this and you want to make it, you better move here. That doesn't mean move up in Kentucky an hour and a half away. It means you need to move here. You need to be in the mix every night. You need to be at all these singer songwriter things. A massive commitment. But, folks from all over the world do that every year. And the turnover within, speaking with Nashville, Austin's probably much the same on a little bit smaller scale, LA, all this stuff. It's the same. If you're not there, um, you can't realize all the opportunities that you would be able to if you're not there. Of course, common sense. However, I refuse to move there because I'm the stage in my life that I'm in and where we live and what we built here. So you have to make concessions and sometimes you drive more than you would want. But for somebody that's maybe up in Wyoming or something out in the middle of nowhere, which I'm envious by the way if you are, um, I realize that can be a massive thing. But I think your asset nowadays is social media, what we were just talking about. And I can't give you the advice to get you squared away on that. But I mean, I think Oliver Anthony, if you guys have heard of him, is a pretty good example of this. He was sitting in the woods in the middle of West Virginia a few months ago, and now he's playing in Europe. You know what I mean? Because he made a recording on his phone and sent it to a radio station in West Virginia. Um, so it's not like you're out. More so than ever, you have a chance without having to live in one of these major music hubs, I believe. So
Yeah, yeah.
there's
Personal
always
chance.
hope. And I'll go back to my thing: where there's a will, there's a way. And
Mhm.
nothing we get or achieve that is a great thing if it comes easy. It's just not. It's
Yeah,
the stuff
yeah.
we have to really work for.
You seem comfortable with it too. I mean, at least when we talk a little bit about it, you've done everything you can to get close to where you need to be, the compromises and the sacrifices. Oh, it's almost sounding like a song here. You can take that idea with you.
All right.
But they have to be made in order to really break into the industry. Let's talk a little bit about travel because you just marked off a couple of states on your tour map, I think.
Yeah.
Florida and I think South Carolina. Talk a little bit about um, you know, how you handle that, the traveling and being away from home, being away from your family, or maybe you take your family along. Can you give us some insight on that?
Yeah. I'm able to handle it pretty well because I'm so used to being gone. My family's used to me being gone a lot. It hasn't been that long, and I was in the army, and now our kids are grown, so that's really not the case anymore. But for this last trip, my wife joins me when she's able, and she did on this last trip. So we kind of turned it into a mini vacation in a couple of the days. We didn't have anything scheduled, and we just try to have fun with it. And it's always great having her at my side. We went to some really cool venues in Florida, and we got to see our daughter who lives out at Hilton Head, South Carolina, and spend some time with her. That's how I handle it. For me, I'll give you my perspective, and this is really what it comes down to. I started music when I was 40 years old, right? So I didn't have this. I'll call it a pipe dream, and I hope nobody takes offense to that. But that's how I looked at it for myself. I'm like, I never had, really embraced a pipe dream. I'm like, yeah, America's looking for a over the hill, 40-year-old country singer to be the next best thing. I never entertained that, and I still don't. So I keep things in perspective differently. It's like I tell my wife all the time: if we're not having fun, I'm not going to do it because what are we doing? You know what I mean? This is
Nice.
this is supposed to be this is supposed to be enjoyable. And when you have that, and I've gotten myself into things before where I'm not having fun, and it's not worth going and playing because and the people that are watching you know that you're not having fun, and it's not worth it for them either. So I just try to keep it in that vein and see what opportunities arise, and they just keep coming. So that's the great thing about it.
I think that one of the things that we try to impress upon the students is to have fun, is to make sure that don't turn this into work because this is supposed to be an enjoyable experience. Music is supposed to be that way until, of course, you hit the big time and you have to tour and you've got to promote an album and all that stuff. It becomes work, but until that time, enjoy the ride, enjoy what
Yeah.
music does for you. So, question about music theory. You're probably going to either just say no, next. Is it important to understand music theory from your perspective as a songwriter and entertainer, or is this something that you get by without?
Both. Yes to both.
Yes to
Um,
both, yeah.
I do get by without it. And for people that like how I perform and sing, I'd say I get by without it. For people that are like, man, I wish he was a lot better, I don't get by without it. You know what I mean? I really wish that I understood music theory. I've got a lot of friends and the artists that I play with on my recordings, and these are world-renowned people that they literally blow my mind when watch them do what they can do on their instruments. So if I had it all over to do all over again, and or if I was starting out, and certainly if my main interest was the instrument and not so much the vocal stuff, I would take the time. I really would. And it's like if it wasn't for the capo we were talking about earlier, I'd be lost. But somebody that understands music theory and guitar a lot better than me doesn't need that thing. You know what I mean? Like, what keys it in?
Yeah.
What keys it in, bro? And they're on it. So yes,
Yeah.
I think that is. There's a lot of people that are where I'm at, was what I've noticed, at least in the performer uh, realm. Well, I'll say the front man realm, I guess is the way to speak it. But
Mm.
behind them are people that they know this stuff. They know it's solid,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's really what makes the music beautiful.
Two comments. One from Kathy. You can take our upcoming course with us. If you like.
Okay.
Guitars for Vets Learning Center's got something that's going to be happening fairly soon, so you're welcome to join us. Um, and I think the other comment here, Kathy, there was something else that you wrote here. Let's see. No, I'm sorry, it was Gary. Chevelle Shepherd is another story, winning season 17 of The Voice from my hometown of Farmington, New Mexico. Joel, do you get good bourbon offered to you while you play?
Yeah.
I'm just reading the comments here. This is what, yeah,
Too much.
this is going to be the tough part of the interview here. Um,
Well,
and
it's actually usually not good bourbon. It's the cheap stuff.
okay, but tomorrow it's another day, right? So
Yeah.
Lanny says, "Good question. I bought a music theory university textbook for that reason too." So with music theory itself, uh, you know, um, I'm finding that some of my students are saying, "I would really like to learn that, but more importantly, I just want to get the techniques down. I want to learn how to strum. I want to know my open chords." That really takes precedence over, all right, let's talk about major, minor, diminished, this, that, and the other. So,
Sure.
yeah, thanks for that perspective. Um, Before we get to the next, we have one more song, don't we? We have one more song here, and then if you could trade places with any musician in the world today, who would it be and why?
Oh, mercy. I wouldn't trade places anywhere, any of them. I love where I'm at, but maybe their success levels I would trade. Um, Shoot, I don't know. That's what a question there. I don't. Maybe Cody Johnson. He's a country music singer from Texas, and I don't know him, but I kind of like his lifestyle. I'm just a country boy, and he seems like he is, and gets to do a lot of cool things. I'd love to play at the Houston Rodeo someday. He gets to play it out every year, so
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
the
guess it's my
perks.
best answer I can do. Yeah.
Hey, in your bio it says, let's see, I would go back to your musical heroes, listening to Travis Tritt, George Strait. Hank Williams Jr., and many more. Obviously, these are influences on maybe your musical style, your writings, your songs. Did they play a role in that?
Sure. Yeah. Sure. And I think most of it is subconsciously. I'll go back and listen to something, and I'll be like, man, that was on that same little ditty there was on like Charlie Daniels 35 years ago. You know what I mean? And didn't write it thinking that, but then you hear that song again, you're like, holy crap, that's where that came from. That's not even mine. You know what I mean? Because I've heard that so many times. So.
And that goes across all genres. Actually, it's like, oh, that riff, I've heard that before.
Yeah,
that whole
I
thing.
mean, there's only so many words and there's only so many chords. You know what I mean? And notes. So, but yeah, obviously, no. I don't think any songwriter sets out and tries to copy somebody because that just wouldn't work. But the influences are a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up on country radio and I love it, and so that's what comes out of me.
Were you paying closer attention to the music, the lyrics, or just enjoyed the personalities, of these performers? Anything?
Probably the lyrics. Well, absolutely the lyrics. I think that's what I love about country music the most is it's not always just about the beat and the music going on behind it. Obviously, it has to match, but it's more so about the emotion and the lyrics, what's actually being said. It's like telling a story, I think. And not all genres, in my opinion, do that as well as country music. All genres have different good things about them that would be better than country. But if you want a storytelling song, you might as well just turn on some country music, in my opinion.
Well, with that said, you've got one more tune, and this one was out within the last year. Is this one of your newer songs?
Yes, this is a single that's also going to be on the album, but I released it late last year. I don't remember the month, but this is a song about my childhood and where I grew up. It's a great segue that you just did there. Right beside the Missouri River in a tiny town. I had 9 people in my graduating class from high school, and I'm counting me. There wasn't a whole lot to do there, but farm and go fishing, go hunting, and maybe get on some back roads and get in some trouble. That's kind of what it was. So I wrote a song about it, and this one's called "A River Runs Through It."
All right, Derek Stoner, everyone.
Roll down the windows, feel the wind in my hair. Stop at that one red light, there's not a soul anywhere. Take a left down Main Street by that old Coke sign. The years have faded the red, but you can still read it fine. River runs through it. I was born and raised catching fish off a bank pole, running wild in my younger days. We would drive down them back roads with no sense of time. Park out by the water, we'd make love back when she was mine. The river runs through it. I remember the church bells ringing out on a Sunday morning. The smell of grandma's fried chicken, fresh cobbler in the oven. Hauling hay in the summer for a few cents on the dime. Back then it didn't take too much to buy some Boone's Farm strawberry wine. Look Looking back on those nights, I can still see the water in the full moonlight. When I close my eyes, the river runs through it. I was born and raised, catching fish off the bank pole, running wild in my younger days. We would drive down the back roads with no sense of time, park out by the water. We'd make love back when she was mine. The river runs through it, and as I drive through here after all these years have gone by, I say a silent prayer and I thank God for those times. The river runs through it. I was born and raised, catching fish off the bank pole, running wild in my younger days. We would drive down the back roads with no sense of time, park out by the water. We'd make love back when she was mine. River runs through it. Sha-na-na-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na, oh.
Way to go, my friend. River runs through it. Derek Stoner, everyone. And the crowd went wild. Well, fantastic. Hey, listen, thanks for sharing all your music with us this evening in that new EP, Veritas? Did,
Yes,
did I say,
sir.
did I say it right?
It's yeah, you did.
Oh,
It's Latin for truth,
all right. Good. All right.
and I
Veritas.
don't speak Latin, but in the military,
Do you need to?
Latin
Yeah.
is in a lot of insignia and stuff like that. Veritas being one of the names, and I wanted it named Truth to give you a short story, but that's so overdone. So I was like, man, I can't name it Truth. And then I
Oh,
thought, oh,
man.
Veritas. So
Man, oh man. Well, we'll be looking for it. My guess is all the streaming platforms,
yes, sir. Yeah, it'll be on all of it.
derekstonermusic.com. All right. So yeah, we know where to go ahead and find that. And you have another EP as well too, right? And some singles. You've got that posted on your website. So yeah, please stop by his site and definitely check it out and support Derek Stoner. So you're also doing some noteworthy work with veteran nonprofits. And the one that I have seen on your site come up recently is with the Green Beret Foundation. Can you talk a little bit about your partnership with them?
Sure. Yeah. Obviously, as you know, being a Green Beret, they reached out to me probably 3 years ago when I was first getting started in music, and it was their initial. They had this idea, and they called it Rock the Green Beret, and they wanted to bring something to Nashville in a venue and bring singers, performers in, and kind of a fundraising event for the Green Beret Foundation. What they do so much, but they take care of special forces soldiers and their families who are in need, for a wide variety of different reasons. So I jumped right on board with that. And since then, I've been back every year to Rock the Green Beret that takes place on Veterans Day weekend down in Nashville. Um, the location changes sometimes, but in the last couple of years, it's been at Kid Rock's big ass honky tonk downtown. Great big
Cool.
venue.
Yeah.
But I just got back. One of the shows that I played in Florida actually was for that foundation down in Tampa, Florida. But they're movers and shakers. They're doing all kinds of stuff, bringing awareness to the public and donors that have the means to really make a large impact on special forces soldiers and their families who are in need. Because it does happen, especially when you look at combat, a whole another side of it, but just husbands being gone and families having to do things. Disasters happen. People's houses can burn down if the dad's not home, just like it can if he's deployed into Afghanistan. All sorts of stuff. So they do some great things. And that's the work I do with them. I'm just performing, and I'm very happy to do it. I get to hang out with my old, a lot of folks that I knew, and get to meet a lot of newer ones, and then I still get to be a small part of the team by playing a guitar now. So I really appreciate it.
That's really awesome. I mean, I think I saw, you were actually on a stage and you were pretty dressed up for the occasion, and it was it was a big deal, right?
Yeah,
Or was that
they
another
made me
event?
dress up, and you know me,
Yeah.
Tom. That takes some doing now. You
I
know.
mean, wow, I'm thinking, is that Derek? Really? Wow. Awesome. Dressing up. Yeah, that's got to be fun, though.
Yeah,
Good
my
grief.
poor wife, man.
You're also going to be performing at an upcoming event in Rolla, Missouri. The Hero Stock, Missouri
Yeah.
event is coming up as well, too. What do you know about that you can share? I know that.
I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
got JB Brown Band, Shannon Book. I think he's going to have his band there. Barbara Sims is
yeah,
going to be there, and then obviously I'll be there.
yeah.
Jason Steiner is the guy heading this up, and I was playing a show up in Nebraska not too terribly long ago, and Jason came up because he lives in Lincoln, Nebraska, and we got to hang out for a little bit. Super cool dude. He's a veteran, obviously, and he's just out. The exciting thing with the Hero Stock, I think, organization is how quickly they're growing. It seems like, and they're putting the effort in, and they're doing what they need to do.
Yeah. Veteran
I'm
live
real excited
music
to go.
and
Missouri's my home state, obviously, and
yeah.
it's actually only about 3.5 hours from where I'm sitting right now, so I don't have to get on an airplane or anything.
Well, that's
Just
cool.
drive
Yeah,
over. Yeah,
June 29th. And
yeah,
yeah, there's a real focus on uh, singer, songwriter, musicians, performers, who have served, not only veterans, but also first responders, is the highlight. And that's just one of three shows. But yeah, that sounds really exciting. So let me see here. Kathy is asking, are you coming to Ohio anytime soon?
I don't believe I have Ohio on my schedule this summer, but send a shout out, Kathy. You can go to my website, DerekStonerMusic.com. I have an email on there under the contact, and I'm always looking for opportunities. And
Okay. Lana's question, and I don't know if this is for you, Derek, or if it's for me. Any more arts and health events planned in the future? How can we help support the music? If you can answer that one, Derek.
wow, yeah. So obviously the stuff Tom and I just talked about, there is all kinds of things. Like if you're talking music specific, the best thing you can do for folks like me or any singer songwriter is listen to our music. Really, on whatever platform that you choose, because it's on everything, and those streams, and it just matters. It costs a lot of money to make good music. Unfortunately, it just does. That's the reality of it. So you'll find, I think there's a whole lot of aspiring folks out there that probably spend the vast majority of the money that they make playing live shows and put it right back into producing music for folks to hear. Um, so
That's how it
all that stuff,
works.
all that. Well, I'm not speaking for everybody, but it,
It seems, yeah,
yeah,
popular. Yeah, a
it's
popular.
a thing. You really have to invest in yourself, and that's not with just music. But so all the support helps, and just listening, and the funny thing about music, I don't know if y'all are like me, but if I can hear a new song on the radio, even if it's from one of my favorite singers, and 9 times out of 10, the first time I hear their new song, I don't even like it. But when country radio continues to play it over and over and over, the next thing I know, I'm loving this song.
Mhm.
So and that's just how it works for me. And it's the same way for me or anybody else. If you only listen to one of my songs one time, maybe you'll like it if you listen to it 5 times. I don't know. It'll
I'm
grow
guilty
on
of
you.
that.
You
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Digging this hole is still one of my favorites. It just rocks. I think we opened last year's show with I'm sorry, digging this whole the EP itself is really wonderful. You know, I have to tell you that the just everything about the music that you did last year was like, I want to talk to this guy. I want to interview this guy. And then when you got this new EP that's coming out, it's like, I'm there, I'm ready. And then listening tonight, everyone got a treat. You know, who else can say that they got to listen to some of your new music? So we are so appreciative
Thank
of
you.
this. One last question, and that is for our aspiring guitar players. Are there words of wisdom that you'd like to share with them as they continue their guitar journey?
Yeah, keep cranking on it. Keep your fingers blistered up. Whether you're down in the music theory or if you just want to be able to play some tunes and do some open chords, if you would just stick with it, I swear to you, um, before you know it, time flies. We all know that you're going to be playing some tune and it's going to bring a smile to your face, your family's face, and you're going to enjoy it. And then what the hell else is any of this about in the end? You know what I mean? So just keep doing it. Just keep doing it.
Okay, now I'm going to read something for Guitars for Vets, and I want you to take this 60 seconds to think if you want to play a cover song for us, one of your favorites, okay? So give it some thought. Guitars for Vets is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Our cyber chapter allows veterans to enroll in the G4V program free of charge and complete private lessons online. These lessons are individualized and designed to help veterans learn guitar at their own pace. Upon completing our 11 lesson program, veterans receive a new acoustic guitar and the accessories needed to continue playing. Registration for Guitars for Vets Cyber Chapter opens on the first day of every month and remains open until full capacity has been reached. For more details and also support our mission through donations, go to our website, www.guitarsforvets.org, and help us put music in the hands of our heroes. What say you, my friend?
Let's do it.
All right,
Let's
what are you
do
going to
it.
play for us?
You know, a song that I really love playing, and this is going to sound so funny from y'all, especially maybe you, Tom, especially. I don't know where the rest of the folks are at, but you're in California, right?
Yep,
Is that
yep.
correct? So I know who you knew who Chris Cornell was,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And like me, redneck me, you're like, what is he talking about, Chris Cornell? I love Chris Cornell, and
The truth comes out.
I play a tune of his. It's called "Like a Stone," the name of the song. Almost every live show that I do,
All
and
right.
nobody ever throws anything at me, so I'm going to take
This
that
is
as a good
good.
thing.
Good that we're
And
virtual
it,
too.
yeah,
All right.
so the acoustic version, obviously, I'd like to do that one for
All right,
y'all.
my friend, go for it.
On a cobweb afternoon in a room full of emptiness by the freeway, I confess I was lost in the pages of a book full of death, reading how we'll die alone and live for good, lay to rest anywhere we wanna go. In your house, I want to be, room by room, patiently. I'll wait for you there, like a storm. I'll wait for you there, alone. And on my deathbed, I will pray to God and the angels, to the pagans, or anyone who will take me to heaven, to a place I recall
Derek, thank you
Chris
so
Cornell.
much. Man. So don't think that you can limit yourself to country. Yeah, feel free to cross over anytime.
It usually
Anytime.
doesn't go very well. Trust me.
No, that was fantastic. You look, your fans are applauding you.
Thanks, guys.
They're all there. Well, listen, I think we ought to probably bring things to a close since we're coming up on the top of the hour here. Do you have a few minutes to stick around and maybe talk to some of our veteran songwriter or singer
Absolutely.
songwriter in training? That would be awesome. So, if you're on the broadcast right now, stick around. Thank you all for watching Song Sung True, a Veterans View. We hope you enjoyed the conversation with Derek Stoner. Next Tuesday, May 21st, we'll be joined by U.S. Army veteran, Nashville singer-songwriter, G4V ambassador, and so much more. Our good friend Scotty Hastings. It's his second appearance here on our program, and he'll be here to tell us all about the things that's been happening to him since we spoke in March of 2023, including signing a record deal. It's pretty awesome. And his new EP as well, too. So for Guitars for Vets and Cav Arts, the Challenge America Veteran Arts Community, I'm Tom Lamog. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Good night.